Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Math 10 C Chapter 1, Lesson 4, Surface Area. Now, here we're going to sketch a diagram to represent a problem that involves surface area or volume. We're going to determine the surface area of a right cone or right cylinder using an object or its labeled diagram. We are going to determine an unknown dimension of a right cone or right pyramid given the object's surface area or volume and the remaining dimensions. Okay? So, right cones and right pyramids. What do you think? Well, you've seen them all before, but why are they called right? Well, because they all have a right angle in them. Which makes it very easy to calculate. Now, for a cone, surface area is pi r squared plus pi rs. Pi r squared you should recognize as the area of the base. The area of the side is pi rs, where this is a slant height s. Side or slant height s. Okay? So let's get going. So here's a couple of cones. Let's figure out the surface area of the blue one first. Now remember, it's surface area, pi r squared plus pi rs. So for this blue one, that is pi times the radius. Now what's the radius here? Good. This is the diameter. The radius is half the diameter. 8 yards. Very good. Yards times 15 yards. Now, so the surface area is 64 pi yards squared. Now, notice I'm going 64 pi because 8 times 8 is 64. Now, 8 times 15 is 120. Now, that should be 184 pi yards squared. Now, I was taught in the good old days for calculators to write it out like this because pi is an irrational number. It's a decimal that goes on forever. Nowadays, with graphing calculators, we just multiply by pi. So the answer you'll see written out will... Oh, you poopy head, stop that. People are watching. $578.0. And I'm going to call it 578.0 yards squared. Now, number significant digits, we could probably go to no decimal places. I'm going to go to one decimal place out of habit. All right, so be careful. You might see it written like this some places, 184 times pi. In this course, I prefer if you multiply the pi out. And of course, since I was taught that way, I probably still do it occasionally. If I do, remind me in small words. Oh, you poopy head. Now, I'm going to be quiet. Actually, I'm going to pause the recording. I want you guys to plug in the numbers and solve for the surface area of this green cone. All right? So, let's pause the recording, give it a try, come back, and we will compare answers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I got surface area pi r squared plus pi rs. Radius is 15 feet. The slant height is 35. Give me a total of 750 times pi feet squared, which is 2,356.2 feet squared. That's what I got. Please tell me you got the same answer. All right, now, moving on. What happens if I don't give you the slant height? Well, you have to calculate it. Notice in this red triangle on the left here, what do you have? A radius of 2 and a height of 7. We have to figure out the slant height. 2, 7. Now, where have we seen this before? Yes, Mr. Pythagoras. Very good. Now, this is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this instance, 2 squared plus 7 squared equals my slant height squared. 4 plus 49 equals 53. Yes, 53. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, of course, if I'm going a little too fast, pause the recording. It's just I grew up without calculators, so I had to do this. Now, depending on who taught you grade 9 math, that's the square root of 53. Now, some math teachers will leave it like that. And when we get into factoring, you'll see how this is useful. For the moment, I'm happy if you leave it the square root of 53, but you can also put it as a decimal approximation, 7.28. Okay? So that's approximately 7.28 is the slant height. Now, can we calculate the surface area? Yes. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to skip it and go on to the black one, or the gray one with the black lettering. I want you to calculate the slant height S of this. Then I want you to calculate the total surface area. All right? So I'll start you off. 9, 2, S, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, or 2 squared plus 9 squared equals S squared. So pause the recording, calculate the side length S, or the slant height, and then come back and we will compare answers, okay? So calculate the slant height for me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got a slant height as the square root of 85, or about 9.22. Notice I'm going to 2 decimal places here because I can. So that's what I expect you to be able to do. Now, can you plug those numbers into the equation and solve for it? Surface area, pi r squared plus pi r s. Well, I hope so, because I'm going to pause the recording. I want you to do the calculations. We come back and we compare answers. Okay? Let's go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I got 70.5 centimeters squared. Now check my math because I'm old. But pi times 2 squared plus pi times 2 times 9.22. I got about 22.44 pi, which works out to be about 70.5. All right? Well, that's what I got. Now, one of the 2 trick questions would be, I give you the surface area, work backwards and find one of the missing numbers. Now in this instance, the surface area of this cone is 7,012 millimeters squared. You have to figure out the side length S. Now point out a couple of things right off the bat you should notice. Radius is 24 millimeters. So if we go to our formula, surface area is pi r squared plus pi r s. What do we got? Well, we know our surface area is 7012 millimeters squared. We know pi times our radius, 24 millimeters squared, plus pi times our radius, times S. So, now there's more than one way to solve this. The easiest way, I think, to solve this would be simplifying first. So, pi times 24 millimeters squared, 24 squared times pi is 7012 millimeters squared equals 18009, sorry, 9.5 millimeters squared plus, now pi times 24 is, pi times 24 is approximately 75.4 times S. So, how do I simplify this mess? Well, bed mass. Working backwards, the easiest thing to get rid of is this plus 1809.5 millimeters. How do I get rid of plus 1809? I subtract 1,809. So 7012 minus, and notice I can just scroll up on the calculator. That is 5202.4 millimeters squared equals 75.4 millimeters times S. Now, how do I get rid of times 75.4? Yes, I divide both sides by 75.4. Technically millimeters. So 5,202.4 divided by my 75.398. And notice I just scroll up. I don't have to repeat my numbers. That becomes 68.999, which gives me... Oh, you poopy head, stop that. S is 69.0 millimeters. Okay. Now, that's it for the first part. Go through this again if you've got any problems. Otherwise, let's go. I'll see you in the next video. Good luck.